Palmer. Salah. Oh, wow. Huge shot. It's given straight away. Yet again fails.
Hello, welcome to the Dugout Podcast. I am your co-host Andrew, and I'm joined alongside my fellow co-host Marissa, and we have a we have a somewhat uncomfortable episode to get through this evening. There's some, the first topic, then I'm sure is going to make Marissa grit her teeth. Um, but just to give you a breakdown of the agenda for this evening, we are going to start with the elephant in the room and talk about Arsenal clinching the Premier League title. We are going to touch base and give our thoughts on some recent managerial appointments at some of the bigger clubs in Europe. We're going to also touch base at my favorite place, Anfield, coming straight back to Mohamed Salah, his comments earlier this week. And then we finish off with a bit of relegation, decided prediction, whatever you want to call it. So yes, very show, Marissa. Arsenal clinching their first Premier League trophy in 22 years. A penny for your thoughts.
Like big on morning colors. Like did we plan this?
We didn't plan it, but
It's what it is.
it's how this.
All right, let me be professional. Let me start off professionally first. Congrats. Ain't coming out.
Well,
Congratulations. There it is. Congratulations to Arsenal. Where to start? Sometimes when you're wishing somebody congratulations, you're saying, congratulations, you deserved it. And honestly, let's be real, let's be professional. They finished with the most points, right? So they deserved it. There were some controversies, especially in recent weeks. But largely, can you really say that any other side was hard done by in terms of not winning? City, to me, they left themselves too much to do. Liverpool, yeah. Chelsea, United had a strong end to the season, but gosh, look at where they were before they sacked Amarim. So Arsenal were the most consistent team. They were the best defensive team. They were solid. You gotta give them credit for the last few weeks since City. When they lost to City, we both felt that City were going to win the title. We came here, we said that, but Arsenal haven't even conceded a goal in the league since that game. And they really played like champions, multiple shutouts. Again, some controversy, but you know what? At the end of the day, defenses win you titles, and that's exactly what has happened. It's a dark day, honestly. The takes, the wild outlandish takes that we were afraid were gonna happen has already started, and we only just passed 24 hours. But it is what it is. They're champions, and nobody ultimately will ever be able to take that away from them.
well said. I'm actually quite impressed with your assessment. I thought you would have
I did
been.
this podcast like yesterday. I didn't know, boy. I know if I would be that measured.
I thought you would have been a lot more tongue in cheek with your remarks. I'll try to be as professional or even surpass the level of professionalism that you just displayed. So let me start by congratulating Arsenal and their fans on their first Premier League win in 22 years. Like you said, and like I always say, they ain't draw a bite. They had to, win the games to massive points. And like you said, over the course of the 38 games, they've been the most, I think I argue they've been the most consistent. And the league table don't like. So I guess, regardless of whatever the key ingredient was to be the best in the league this year, they were that. He's my, I'm being serious.
I
Regardless
know
of
it's
whatever the
just
key
it
ingredient
was
was,
I had a cheeky comment to make, but I'll leave that for when you finish. Let me get the
okay.
professionalism out the way first.
Right. So, in spite of whatever it was, they were that. They did what they had to do. I don't think many onlookers, many neutrals were necessarily excited for most of the season by the brand of football that they played. I certainly doubted their credentials to win the title, especially well throughout the season. It was never. Actually, no, there have points where I think the league was a very, very comfortable lead at certain points in the season. So I was kind of like at points where I was about to become resigned to the fact they would win, and then they dropped points and let City back in. Obviously, they lost the head-to-head against City last month or what's not, and we were all like, okay, good. Because at that point, City had also looked like if they had turned the corner and showed the consistency that could have resulted in them surpassing Arsenal. But it wasn't to be. Like you said, uh, City are not the same side in terms of consistency and relentlessness that they were 2 or 3 years ago. Um, and that came to great fruition because obviously there are certain games that City will drop points in that you would never expect. Um, at least that they probably give themselves a bit too much to do. And the other supposed big six, for example, or big five, whatever it gets to be, did not turn up. Were never really a feature or factor in the race this year. So I think Arsenal deserve to win. Is there 3 months in the sun over the summer months, and
You think
yeah,
it's just gonna be 3 months? You're funny.
no, because oh, you mean in terms of the fan base? Well, here's the thing. I think it's gonna be. It could potentially be longer than 3 months. Because Arsenal and they're fully entitled to celebrate. Like you said, they can't take away the victory from them. The table don't like. Regardless of the controversial decisions that they may have gotten in certain games and different things like that people won't point to. You know, that's beyond their control. That's it. Um, I think the frightening bit is because they still have a Champions League final to look forward to. So here's the thing: if they win the Champions League, right, and I'll be on record as saying this, if they win the Champions League again, they would deserve it because you know whenever that game comes to pass on May 30th, however events unfold, they'll draw, but what I mean, they're not in control who they played up until that point, and we got what we wanted because at the end of the day, they are playing arguably the best team in Europe on that day. So if they win, they probably deserve credit, no matter how it comes about. But at the same time, what I would say is that from a historical standpoint, it would be one of Arsenal's greatest seasons, obviously, in their history, and it would be talked about as such. I think what detractors will kind of point to is the fact that although they won the two biggest prizes in the European game or in Premier League and then Champions League, what's not. I think what detractors will point to is the fact that they didn't play a brand of football that is normally indicative of those kind of achievements, and that's where they it might be a bit maligned, but Arsenal fans won't care. That's the truth. Arsenal fans won't care, right? I think Arsenal have arrived at a point where they didn't care how they won, just that they did. And I believe, my team that I support waited 30 years. So I know that when you get a certain point, the whole becomes, secondary to just getting that.
Well said.
Thank you.
No, we get the professionalism out the way, right? You finished with all the professional stuff, right? Because
Um,
okay.
go ahead. Sorry.
You mentioned ingredients.
Mhm.
Um, that has some little VAR sprinkled in there. Um, some set pieces in there. Some non-penalty shots, and that's my thing. I think what has irritated me today is a post I saw with Gabriel and Saliba, and it said no red cards, no penalties for Arsenal this season. And what frustrates me is that should not have been the case. I mean, let's be fair. Um, they have had numerous calls in their favor, numerous. But hey, like you said, it's deserved. They get their guard of honor at Crystal Palace, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. And I think even looking back at City, ultimately that Everton game, I mean, it's easy to pinpoint because that's clearly when the last slip up happened that
Mhm.
Arsenal capitalized on. But you know, I think in the running, it was always clear that Arsenal had the easier of the fixtures of the money two sides, and City just. I don't know. Even yesterday against Bournemouth, I only watched the first half because I watched my game when it started. But aside from a few little Ferrers here or there, they just didn't seem like. I think the word I want to use is that they're not the same juggernaut. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I think they've only lost one domestic game in a really like they've drawn a lot to be honest, but they've only lost
Mhm.
one domestic game. Like they're on a crazy run right now, but it's not a run that makes you think, yeah, they're still cracks in my opinion. I think that they against a better team, they could have struggled more in the FA Cup final on Saturday against
Mhm.
us. I think we nullified them a lot. But even I can't even say we nullified them. I just they didn't look like City. And ultimately we know the news broke as well about Pep leaving. And I felt like that was something. I mean, this is a long-standing manager, 20 trophies. I really thought that was something that would have galvanized them in these last two games to pull off something special. But it really didn't look like that yesterday against Bournemouth. Um, so it's a very interesting period now go for City. They've appointed Enzo Maresca. I definitely have some thoughts and feelings about that, but that's not for tonight's show. Um, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, like I'll ask you the question so that we bring a conversation we had off air on air. But
Mhm.
what are Arsenal chances of going back to back next season?
I think no, nothing is guaranteed. Football still well played, but I think that Arsenal will be they're the star favorites and they'll be very very confident. Uh, I believe playing staff and um, fans that without injuries and stuff like that, it's theirs to lose again. Because I think what they'll point to is the fact that City will not have a new manager, and we will see if Maresca can improve on what City did this season, or if he can, or how long it would take him, to get City back on track or get City um, the level of consistency. Because what we've seen from Maresca in the Premier League thus far, though it hasn't been at City, at Chelsea, was they start well and then they kind of have a little patchy, spell in December, where results become a bit, um, you know, punchy with it, and they start kills the momentum, right? So what I'm saying is that we haven't seen evidence from him in the Premier League season that he can be involved into the race until the end. So he still has a lot of proof, in my opinion, and I actually think that is a great leap of faith. As much as I like his playing style and stuff like that, I think it's a great leap of faith by City to give him a job. That's just me.
But who else
But
would they have
again,
been though? Who else is really out
well,
there and available? Because
I'll go for
Enrique
my
is
out.
signing a new deal I hear.
Mm-hmm.
Diego Simeone. I'm just going with experienced managers at the moment, not necessarily who I
Right,
think is the best, but
right.
Diego Simeone, he is committing to Atletico. Tuchel is with England. Nagelsmann is with Germany. And I think that's another
Mm-hmm.
key factor too. And I think I'll get into it a bit when I talk about Chelsea's manager appointment. But I think City would have wanted to have a manager in place before the World Cup. And not necessarily have to wait till the World Cup is over.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't give a lot of prep, transfer window, all of that jazz. Who else am I missing? Ancelotti's with Brazil. Um,
Right.
Jose, he
Well,
gone to back to Real Madrid. So who else would they have really gone for?
the thing is, I don't think it's a case where it was about the World Cup. For me, from what I was hearing from last year, um, Maresca was always, even when he had Chelsea job,
Yeah,
he was
Spain
always
was
the
at
one that they
Chelsea.
earmarked.
Yeah.
And apparently he was interested in it. So I don't think it's about work. I think it's just about, in terms of what they believe their philosophy is, and they believe still a coach and who will fit well, they thought Maresca was the best fit. And I agree with them because I can see that that translation happening. But one thing is that I just Maresca still got to prove it in terms of being a manager of a team that goes all the way to the risk. Because the 2 years he had at Chelsea, he started well, like I said, was kind of in the fringes of it, and then come Christmas to follow it. No,
To
you
be
might
fair
say
to him,
that.
that's a Chelsea thing too. I'm sure
Yeah, I
that's
was
a,
gonna say
could be a
because you
Chelsea.
might argue
We do
that
that.
Chelsea's squad in terms of the composition was one that's very young and inexperienced.
Yeah.
Rhapsody will have a bit of know-how, which is true, but still we will see. But yeah, I think that this Premier League season is going to be very open. I think that at this point in time, you don't know what you will get with Liverpool and what they will do. A lot depends on what Liverpool's transfer window will look like. Man U, another kind of you know question marks around them in terms of can they enter the race. So it's going to be kind of an open race, and there's a great chance for Arsenal to repeat. That's the truth. Will they? Hopefully not, but it's a good, it's a great chance. Or even if they do repeat, hopefully they will get more of a challenge from the other teams from the off, as opposed to somebody coming late. Let's say try to enter the race towards the back end. Hopefully it'll be a real fight tussle through the entire season.
You know what I would love to see though? The competitiveness of the Premier League, especially with the so-called mid-table teams, is as high as it's been. What I would
Mm.
love to see is that top four, whoever it may be, all in a title race. I think we need that. Lately, it's just been two people. But I think
Mm.
when you throw in a third and maybe a fourth, it gets even more exciting. So I'm hoping that openness that you're talking about can translate. I think a lot
Mm.
depends on the transfer window because let me face it, defensively, Arsenal is set, but there's still holes in that team, and it'll be interesting to see what Arteta and Berta do in the summer transfer window. I'm very, very interested to see, especially what they do with that forward line. Because let's face it, they didn't win it based on their forwards.
No,
They didn't win it because they have world class forwards. They won it because their defense and Raya have been exceptional. And so I know it's not on the agenda, but who would you pick for player of the year?
who I think for the year. Well, I believe that for a year should come from the ranked champion. And
Mm-hmm.
if it was going to pick somebody for Arsenal, it probably the first thing that comes to mind, honestly, is probably Gabriel or one of the or maybe one of the centre backs, maybe Saliba or even a Declan Rice, maybe Saliba. So I would say right where you are, Saliba would be my
Saliba
third
is
year.
not even in running.
Who's right?
I think it's just
We made
Gabriel.
nominees.
I don't think
Okay.
Saliba nominated. I could be wrong.
I can't remember. I saw a list though. I know Bruno's on a list, and that made me laugh. Not because his numbers are good, but because we're Manu. What the first half of the season Manu had. I don't understand how he justified putting him on a list. But anyhow, it's what it is.
Same thing with
Um,
Kobe Menu. Isn't Kobe Menu nominated for Young Player? That got me so
he may be.
kerfuffled.
I
He
didn't see
weren't
young
really
player list,
lit.
but I thought he played on list. I didn't see young
Yeah.
player.
But the reason I asked is because I was talking specifically about Arsenal's defense, and I think honestly, when you think about it, right,
Mm.
Saliba and Gabriel have had their mishaps as well in this running. David Raya to me is who has really propelled Arsenal to this league title. Clutch saves in clutch moments. I know everybody, all the talk was about the West Ham disallowed goal. But rewind 10, 15 minutes earlier when he made that save from, I think it was Fernandez, he should have
Yes,
scored. But again, David Raya has come up clutch in a lot of big moments for Arsenal this season. And I think he should win it personally.
but whilst I agree with you, I would think that's the best example to give, man. Because to me, that was more about the poor finish from Fernandez than
Agreed. But
Gavaraya.
I
Because he could
used
have
it
gone his for a
because
post. I don't understand why he tried to say the ball
A
in their
hundred
post.
percent. 100%. But I used it specifically because
Mm.
that was a huge moment in that game because it was still 0-0. And like you had
Yeah,
said in the voice note you sent me, you don't think Arsenal may have gotten something from that game, but it's very unlikely they would have won that game because it was pretty late on.
yeah.
Um, but I think Raya has come up clutch for Arsenal in big moments this season, and I think he should win it. I think personally he should win it. So yeah, I was saying about Arsenal and their transfer window. I'm looking forward to see what they do, especially in forward areas. Um, like you said, we don't know what the other teams are going to look like, and a lot depends on the transfer window as well for other teams. But I think it will be open, and they would love that openness to just manifest into a real competitive title race, in my opinion. Because really, truly, this title race only got competitive like maybe from February or
February.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, congrats, Arsenal. Moving on swiftly. I've never been said to move on swiftly before. Moving on swiftly. Managerial appointments. So we start at Chelsea. And Xabi Alonso has been announced as the new Chelsea manager, signing a 4-year deal until 2030, I believe. A penny for your thoughts, Marissa.
I am stunned. Like I told you, I am stunned that we have done this. I am stunned that this ownership has finally done something that fans could actually agree with, because there's not a lot they've done that fans have agreed with. Like I alluded to earlier, there's not a lot of, to me, a lot of the really, really fantastic managers are taken at the moment and committed. And I think this appointment I love for a lot of reasons. I love that it has happened now, because I think we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do, and it's best we start that way before the World Cup starts. Um, I like the appointment too because I'm a fan of Chabi Alonso. I think that he's talented. I think that he did. We all know what he did with Leverkusen. I mean, everybody talks about the invincible season, but when he first went in there, they were flirting like above or very close to relegation zone. He had a strong finish with them in that season, and then obviously we know what happened in that season. Real Madrid wasn't a failure in my opinion. When we had Ronaldo on, he himself even talked about it. You know, the dynamics and the politics at Real Madrid are very different than any other club, even Chelsea. But I'm a fan of this appointment. I think is what this squad needs. I think they need somebody, with all due respect to Liam Rosenior, they need somebody they could look to and respect, because it's clear they didn't have any respect for Rosenior. They didn't. But I'm really shocked. I'm really shocked that he agreed. I think the term manager is critical because every person from Thomas Tuchel down to Rosenior has always had the title of head coach, and they've been very clear. Their job is to coach, leave everything else to the incompetent directors and the owners. But they've appointed Alonso as a manager, and the all the briefs are saying it's with a different remit. He's going to have more say. He's going to have more control, and we're not going to make any signings without his go ahead and everything. All these are words. What they will do in theory is something different. I think you said it. I can't remember if it was in our pre-show conversation or when we were talking about the transfer windows and stuff, but this Chelsea squad is talented. We have a lot of players that should not be here, i.e. Garnacho. Could never get behind that signing. We have a lot of talent. I think it needs the right person to nurture that talent, and I think Xabi Alonso could be that. But I also think we need a lot of work to we have a lot of work to do in terms of building this squad to be challenging for major honors next season. I know we got to the FA Cup final, we got to Carabao Cup semi-final, and when you think about it in isolation, given the turmoil that has been this season, that's not bad. But that's not what Chelsea is. Chelsea isn't just making finals and semi-finals and they say, "Oh, it's not bad." We gotta do better, and I think this appointment could be really good if he's backed, if he's supported. But on the surface of it, I'm very, very pleased with the appointment because I genuinely did not think that they would have gone, whether or not, like we talked about before, London is attractive to the big club. Ignoring those variables is about owners. I was surprised that we actually chose to go this direction because if you look at who we've appointed, people that they feel they can control, people that are yes men, or thought that they were yes men. For instance, Moresco, they thought Moresco was a yes man until he wasn't. So I'm very surprised, and I hope that most importantly, it signals a change from Blue Code to make changes to what they're doing, their model. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with signing young talented players. It's what you guys did. You guys signed a lot of unknown talented players at times that develop into really fantastic players. There's nothing wrong with that, but it has to be supplemented with the right experience, and hopefully this will be a shift in that approach. But ultimately, we'll see. But I'm happy. I really am happy, and it's been a long time since anything to do with Chelsea has made me happy, to be honest. So that's
Well,
me.
well, very quickly, on Xabi Alonso. Mm, I mean, we'll see how it goes. That's my position on it. I neither here or there. I know that I think it's a big thing for Chelsea in the sense that he is a highly sought after manager in Europe. I don't think his reputation took that much of a hit having coached Real Madrid because, as I said, as I said when we have Ronaldo on, I thought Real Madrid were a bit too hasty with pulling the trigger on that. They were still a competitive team, and I felt as though they could have given him more time. But the proof is always in the pudding. And what I mean by that is that, the president of Real Madrid reports suggest, reports have confirmed that Xabi Alonso's appointment would have been a collaborative choice between him and the directors and not necessarily his choice.
Mm.
So, he was never fully sold on Xabi Alonso on this project and this way of management. Um, I'm not surprised that Chelsea will still appeal to Xabi Alonso just because Chelsea's a big club. The Premier League is an attractive league, and I feel as if he looks like score, he looks like resources that Chelsea has. It still has a lot of resources in terms of being able to go and attain high quality talent. Is a squad that he can do stuff with. I think the key, because as much as you were happy about the transition from head coach to manager, and yeah, he got more of a say. We all know when having more of a say means you get more of criticism too. So if whatever say he has in terms of signings and blah blah, it don't work. You know, if it wasn't to work, rather it would be he would get more criticism and blame for it as well. So that's a pro and a con in itself. I think ultimately what will have to happen for this to be a successful partnership is harmony and a clear understanding of what the rules are and what each person is responsible for, and their ability to keep on the same page, right? Basically, I I think once once whatever he's promised in terms of authority and jurisdiction that he has is met and fulfilled and honored, I think everything will be okay. I like his play style. I think he seems to enjoy working with young players and improving them. He has a track record of that from his Leverkusen days. I think he has great days. I think he will make Chelsea a competitive team again. I think what's going to be important, like I said, and that is getting this on what promises they made to him and how that is honored and kept, will be the time that he gets. You know what I'm saying? You have to give him time. You have to give him time. I think Chelsea fans as a fan base, not necessarily you, but I think Chelsea fans as a fan base, because we grew up with Chelsea, where you also have a manager, appoint a new one, and next
Go
season
win the
even have a
league.
disappointment, going in the league. I'm not saying it can't happen because
It's
I think
not,
talent
yeah.
is there to be competitive or at least be the risk.
Mhm.
But I don't think that should be the expectancy. I think give
Agreed.
this manager
It's
time.
more of an anomaly, to be honest.
Correct. Give it manager time and see how. And I'm not telling you all the way 7 years there are so they, but
Could be
wait two or
resist.
three, maybe I can. Wait 2 or 3 maybe, and along the build, almost similar to what Klopp did at Liverpool, along the build into a challenger force. I think it's a good appointment, and if he's given the time, I believe that he will do well at Chelsea.
Yeah, I think so. But like you said, if you said it perfectly. Time is key. Has to give him time. I That was my thing. Like I say, I will, because we have a few. Not to skip ahead, but we have a few things. Oh shoot, I forgot how to change the thing. We have a few new things that we're going to be doing on the podcast in terms
Mhm.
of, well, adjacent to the podcast. So let me just mention this now. We're actually going to be branching off into doing some blog posts, and Andrew and I are going to start by maybe doing some evaluations of the current state of our clubs and how the season went. And maybe I may explore it there, maybe I won't, because I do have some thoughts and feelings on this whole Maresca and City thing. But one of
Mhm.
the things that I think Maresca showed because when he first came in, a lot of Chelsea fans wasn't sold on him. Oh, he
Right.
come from championship. He only managed Leicester. He never won anything. We had a rocky start, but he quickly got the fans on board because, like I told you, he was the first Chelsea manager I connected with seriously since Tuchel. He connected with the fans. He got us playing a certain way that I enjoyed, and I think there were calls, believe it or not, to sack him like within the first 6 months. But they gave him time. They stuck with him. He delivered on Champions League football. We won the Conference League and the Club World Cup. He showed what, and I was just comparing. He showed what it means to what can happen when you give a manager time. As much as I hate to say, Arsenal show what can happen when you give a manager time. 2020, Arsenal was in the pits when Arteta came in. I will never forget. Arteta was on the verge of the sack at Arsenal when we rocked up to the Emirates, and then they beat us. And that was a key turning point for Arsenal because they stuck with him. They gave him time. You have to give managers time. Like you say, it ain't got to be the 6 years that Arsenal gave Arteta to deliver on a major trophy, but you have to give managers time to implement their ideas and change because there's all this talk about changing the club culture. All of those things take time. So we will see, like you say, and hopefully it works out because I tired, honestly.
Another well, fair enough. I understand you. Cool. Jumping to another managerial appointment, we also had Mudikari being confirmed as my name manager on a 2-year contract, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it's two. Yeah.
Right. After he bat off, excellent upturn in form after he took over as caretaker from Ruben Amorim. What are your thoughts on that? I feel like I've seen this movie before.
It's so typical of Man United. Like you say, you've seen the movie before. I think there's actually there's actually a graphic that says they appointed a Dutch manager.
Uh-huh.
Then what was the next phase? Who came after Van Gaal? Right, Mourinho. So they appointed
Mourinho,
a
yeah.
Dutch manager. They then went to a Portuguese manager. Then they hired an interim, and then the interim got the permanent job. So, like you said, you've seen the movie before, but it's so typical of Man United. Andrew, we could have called this a mile away. From the time United had a great uptick in form in the back half of the season, he was always going to get a job because this is what they do. It's not, to me, it's not how a club like Man United should operate. And this is no disrespect to Carrot, but have they genuinely considered that from January, Man United was literally playing one game every 2-3 weeks? Like they I think they have broken the record for the least number of games played by an English side in a season. Because they got knocked out of the Carabao Cup super early. Same with the FA
Mhm.
Cup. They weren't in Europe. Like they were very, very fresh. I'm not trying to take anything away from it, but let's face it, is a big factor. Um, and I haven't watched them a lot. The games I have watched them, to be honest, I haven't seen anything that impressive. Sometimes I don't feel like their results have matched their performance. I
Mhm.
feel sometimes they got away sometimes with in terms of winning games that they probably didn't really deserve to win. I think that I would have liked to see, from a professional standpoint, it would have been nice to see Man United butt this trend and not be so predictable, and maybe done a more due diligent exploration of candidates. I know for us, there were talks or briefs that Areola was our second choice, and he was talked to and he was interviewed. Not really interviewed because he had more, but he was sounded though, and he was impressive to Chelsea. You ain't hearing them reports from Man United. Like, to me, Man United is a legendary football club, and how they're operating, I don't know. I cannot see this working out. And and then the 2-year deal is another thing too. I mean, I know Chelsea gave manager 5 years and sacked them in 6 months. But to me, 2 years doesn't really show that you are really invested in Carrot that sort of way. It just feels like a feel good appointment. It doesn't feel like a lot of thought and process has gone into it. That's my thought.
You know what? It feels like Chelsea when they appointed Roberto Di Matteo after the Champions League. The man do so well in the job. Um, I
Facts.
think we did that. I think we did that before Kenny Dalglish as well. When he got the job at the second time after coming in as security got a little taking form and he gave him the job. How do I put this? I think the people that are making football decisions at Man United need to take a serious look at themselves because not to say, I mean, for all we know, come August, September, Carrot might go for strength and Mario might continue to do well. For all we know, right? But I'll tell you what I do know is that a club of Man U stature, a club of Man U size, a club that has gone it so wrong over the last since Ferguson left really, in terms of their managerial appointments and when they decided to part with managers and stuff like that, and recruitment at certain junctures. I think that what they should have really done was just really, like you said, do a thorough search for a manager. And like I know the only because and it's the Marine pundits all down there. Gary Neville's and that lot, right? That has come from people TV, from people areas. I talk about, the former teammates that they have that might be caretaker rules to get your job, blah, 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 blah. Only one Marine pundit had the gumption, the common sense to say is going to carry the best manager that's available. If not, then don't appoint him. Go for the best manager. Go for the best manager that fits, that meshes with what you want a team to be in the next 3 to 5 years. And I feel as if when you look at the managerial options that are available now, Iriola, Glasner,
Chabi Alonso,
but Jabalonso, I think. Thank you. And I'm pretty sure there are others. I'm pretty sure there are others that I could potentially think of. Marco Silva for them. That it has to be a good Premier League manager. They're options. Or you might not get the really truly, like you said, the bigger managers currently have jobs, but we don't know if Nagelsmann will extend or want to stay and work at management. He's quite young man. You could have sounded out. So there are options and there are things that you can. There are options that and different things that you're at disposal. But the thing that I felt on my main list was like you said, there never seemed to be a clear search for manager once my character came and won a few years.
Yep.
You got to be kidding me. And honestly, right, it's so fundamental of football because, like I said, the one thing that I praised Man United for in last summer was the recruitment of the attacking forces and Bilmo. Oh yeah, I said that team, that front line has goals in it. So having goals in it means that they're going to win some games. Like you said, the midfield and the defense are still suspect, so they will need some work. Man United is a draw itself, so yes, they will attract decent players, especially now that they have the Champions League. But essentially give him a carrot. Problem, give him a rest of the job based on Leicester. Lord have mercy, give him a carrot job based on a half a season at Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
But you know what? I will reserve my judgment. We will see if it works out. I'm not entirely convinced. Like you said, starting a new season where everybody had a chance to, or all the sports in the league had a chance to reset to a certain point. The pressure, the expectation on Carrot, because the thing with fan base is this forget that, just kind of forget where they come from and where they are. So we come to the Champions League, we finish with this, great more form, and then looking to kick on. And if he doesn't start well next season, then all of a sudden the pressure will be on him too. It's just a vicious cycle of foolishness. And that's all I gotta say about that. We will see how my Carrot goes. I think they could have gone a bad manager. But I'm happy that nobody, touch wood, because I already know right that should my team sack their manager at any point this year, because it might not happen this season. At any point this year, meaning calendar year of 2026, I already know who I want to take over. I'll tell you off here if I don't want to jinx it. But I already know who I will go for.
Is it somebody
available.
Is it somebody that I told you I think would be a perfect fit?
I think you did. I think you might have called his name as a perfect fit before.
Okay.
But when you come off here, I will tell you.
I feel like that is, to me, that's like a match made in heaven, in my opinion. If we talk about the same person. Yeah. So let me move on to Liverpool because I have an update on Liverpool is more the top 5 race, which apparently
Uh-huh.
is now a top 4 race, top 6 race if
Right.
if Man City beat Villa on Sunday.
Okay.
So because Villa won, congratulations to them, the Europa League today.
Mhm.
If
Mhm.
they finish 5th, because they've won the Europa League, 6th place is now Champions League football. So
Okay.
fantastic news for Bournemouth.
Mhm.
Fantastic news for them. And yeah, so that's a bit of an update. I know y'all
Okay.
technically secured Champions League football because they drew
Mhm.
yesterday, but with Villa's win today, it's basically confirmed that 6th place will get Champions League football in England.
Okay. Must be nice. Um, and I mean, right. So we talked about some last comments, right?
Yeah, and Liverpool.
Ah, boy. So I got some notes here. Yeah,
I put up my foot and make myself comfortable.
yeah. This would be enough for you. I don't really take shots at or business players, but anyway, I must. Um, and this is not even about this comment. This is just about the season as a whole when it comes to Mohamed Salah. I'm disappointed. Lambist is the wrong word. I don't want lambisting. I just want to talk. I just want to be honest with my feelings. I'm disappointed in him. And here's why. The leadership group at Liverpool, we know Trent left, but the leadership group or what's not, that manages the dressing room will obviously be Virgil, Robertson, Allison, Mohamed Salah. I'm not sure if we try and even add another player to that leadership group, right? But those are 4 that I know for a fact are per leadership group. It has been a horrible season for Liverpool. And I don't understand why Mohamed Salah, as a member of the leadership group, a leader in the dressing room, a well respected player, a well liked player at the club, would take every opportunity to just, create fractures in the public. Like, for all my time as a Liverpool fan, I hear experts talk and stuff like that. They always say that Liverpool are a unique club in the sense that they do most of the business behind closed doors. Wrong, he can't I mean, firstly, right? This make for a disappointing thing with him. We signed a lot of new players. We sold a lot of players as well. We also had a insurmountable loss at start season, or closely started season during preseason. No problem. Well, problem, but you know what I mean. We won the first 5 games of the season. We were saying, well, they're winning and they've been playing well. Imagine when they start playing well. However, though, and this round of slot is culpable. They never ever. I don't think at any point Liverpool really started playing well this season. Have played well this season. They haven't. In terms of performance level, it has been a very, very bad season. Our slot has not been able to get or generate a taking form, and that has been disappointing. That's not the manager that we saw in his first season when he did everything almost right. Right? No problem. He made a change. He said that's allowed PT. Now, regardless of what I think it is, right? I'm not sure I would never know what that conversation was like in terms of what he would have told us to justify his exclusion for those 3 games back in December. I think he got dropped after the PSG. He lost in the Champions League. I can't remember who we played, but I think it was West Ham. We won that game. Then he was on the bench again for the maybe game against Sunderland. He came off the bench at halftime, and then he was back on the bench for the game away to Leeds. And that's when he gave the first outburst in the press zone. The first time, right before the African Cup of Nations. You are correct.
Mm-hmm.
Which resulted in him not going to the Inter Milan game. That was a great call. But my thing is that as a leader, you gotta know that that's not what your team needed at that point in time. And it was in La Base. You could have told Aaron Scott what you want to tell him and keep that in house. I saw an interview with Henry. Henry said there was a season after he won with Pep, I think after they won Champions League, where he was in the bench at Barcelona. He was in stand actually for a game. And he said, I told Pep what I thought, but I didn't do it in the press. And I don't understand why he said that for this rhetoric now about putting everything in the press. Now, that statement that he gave on Tuesday or whatever day it was, is a clear job at Aaron Slot, talking about the style of play. He, being the club when they went from doubters to believers, yada, 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 yada. and team needs to go back. Yada 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 yada. Is a attempt at being clever. I think what he will like the responsibility is that he, started like galvanizing team and getting them to and almost like show how much he loves the club and how much he wants them to get back to the is.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, we know that he's essentially criticizing the manager. It's almost like, and I know what it has demonstrated that I'm going to be very careful with my next statement because this is so harsh. But it has demonstrated that Mohamed Salah, as much as I love you, sir, you are a bit dishonest and dishonest in this fashion. You said in a couple of interviews because since he knows that he's leaving the great interviews with him and stuff like that. He said that he really wanted to stay last season. I can remember the first over he said that club threw money bus and they didn't fulfill the promises they made.
Yeah.
We don't know what the promises are. But the point being is that he said in one of recent interviews that he's not at peace with the decision about leaving Liverpool. No, it's the right time to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fine, fair. I believe he should get the send off that he deserves. I can still from all the way here in Barbados, I'll be applauding. I will miss it. His talent's cool. But the fact that you released that statement after the Aston Villa game suggests to me that you are not happy about your departure. There seems to be a bit of spite and bitterness there. You understand? When you're still a player club, do you need a chill job at Aaron Slot? Is it you're trying to provoke Aaron Slot to not play you, to dare not play you because I know he's not coming back from injury? So he had to start. He came off very late against Aston Villa, maybe about 20 or 15 minutes left. Is he trying to sit up? Is he trying to almost just some shots at Aaron Slot to get more criticism on him if he doesn't start on Sunday? I don't know what he's trying to achieve, but what I know for a fact is that it's not good. It has kind of revealed the state of the dressing room, and that you said to me that you think that Aaron Slot lost the players. I don't think he's lost all, but it clearly shows that there's a fracture. I think that some of those likes were about respect for Salah. I think a lot of players like and respect Salah, and they like the post as a result. But then there's some players that you've heard reports of falling out with people like McAllister, falling out with people like Curtis Jones as well. You've heard those things, and I'm pretty sure he fell out with Wobble. Me personally, I don't think Aaron Slot has managed well this season. I think his management is leaving a lot to be desired. I think there's certain situations that get a pound of better.
Saying too, like you might say that scoring 2 goals at Villa Park ain't bad. Like
But here wrong. But here we really wrong. Because I think what he meant, right? That's the old adage. Normally you would say, for example, if you go away from home and you score 2 goals, they did well. Normally. But like you said, really wrong. It's been a bad season and that was a bad performance, whereas Villa could have been your worst on 4-2.
Yeah.
You didn't need to say that. So I get it. Right? But since it's about honest, I mean we started from last season. So it's a bit too honest for your own good. You understand? The only thing I'm honest about is that he come on honestly tell us really and truly what led the breakdown between him and Salah. Because last season also I was saying is that his relationship with the manager is really good. But I know what the breakdown is. I got a suspicion what the breakdown is. The breakdown will have to come at some point where so I relate that team isn't being built to get it, isn't being built in order to get the best of him. But again, where Salah let himself know in my eyes is that as a club legend, which he is, lead. Even if you're playing for the bench, lead. I had great players who lost the plot and they still led behind the scenes in the dressing room. Lead. Help the likes of Works, help the likes of I can think of his fit. Help the likes of Gapo, who has been horrid this season. Has been horrid, but you can't convince me that Gapo that bad. Gapo could play a lot better than we play. You know what I'm saying? Help them. Don't come and burn the entire building as to quote somebody else. Because all you do is later matches. And then you want somebody you want fair. But if you want fair, don't let the match. Because how are you doing?
So I agree with everything you said except one thing. What was it? I think it was when you were talking about you said you weren't sure why he was doing it in terms of this last comment.
Yeah.
And you think that is showing he's not at peace with the decision to leave Liverpool. I saw it differently. Like I said, I agree with everything you said. I think to me
Before you go on though, let me rephrase that. It may mean that he's not at peace with leaving Liverpool. I think he's at peace with it. I just mean I don't think he like how it happened.
Right, fair.
I don't think he like how it eventually happened. Go ahead.
Yeah, I get you. My thing is though, I agree with you, especially in terms of leadership. A leader is not only I think Salah has a big ego, and I think sometimes that ego gets in the way. And it's not just about you. I think when you're a leader, it's about the team. Granted, yeah, it's not a team playing that well without him, but they're not playing that well with him either. So yeah, you got to put yourself aside and lead. I actually thought Salah's statement, though I agree with you, I think the timing is poor. Poor. Because Leeds was a draw or defeat.
It was a draw, but I think it was where we the luxury one on J3. It was a
Right.
bad result. Yeah.
So it's like he always waits to like he knows what he's doing. He always waits to when he knows the fan base is at a certain point, and he knows that you say. I think he's trying to incite the fan base because these players follow social media. These players know that 90% of the fan base wants slot out. Salah knows that. So then he playing on everybody emotions with the standards comment and the heavy metal football, allusion to Klopp, they got slot. I actually thought Salah's statement kind of showed me that he really does love Liverpool Football Club. I
Mm-hmm.
think that even though he's leaving, he's not leaving and being like, yeah, I don't give a damn. He's leaving, but he wants to see the best for the club. That is my opinion. I think I saw it as a man that clearly loves this club, clearly wants to see it get back to the standards that it should. That's how I saw it from that perspective. However,
Okay.
like I said, I fully agree with you. I think sometimes the timing, man, like he clearly wants my other thing too. He clearly know he leaving and he wants a lot left with he. That's
Exactly. Exactly. It's like I leave. It's like I nothing, and I get measure. I measure don't last much longer.
exactly,
You know what I'm
exactly,
saying?
exactly. But my thing is, could he do it on the 25th of May? Like you have one game left in the season. At that point, your guys' Champions League hopes was 50-50 because
Mm-hmm.
Bournemouth hadn't played yet. If they won their two games, they could have pushed you guys down in six. To me, there was still things to play for. It's your last home game. The last home game didn't need all of this surrounding it. He could have easily done this the day after the season end and be done. But it's clear he knew his finger is on the pulse of where the fans are at. Because let me tell you something. After that Villa defeat, Liverpool fans on social media were on a meltdown, especially since around that same time was when Jabi Alonso to Chelsea links got
Yeah.
strong. A lot of Liverpool fans. So it was like that was accelerating. So Salah knew what he was doing. The timing was impeccable. And like I said, and notice that none of us disagree with anything he said. But you have to be cognizant that there's a way and there's a when. And ultimately, he chose the wrong way and he chose the wrong when. But I do think his ego is big, but I just think the man loves Liverpool. And I think he really does want to see Liverpool get back to where he thinks y'all should be.
He loves Liverpool, right? I would never dispute. I know he loves Liverpool. And Liverpool loves him. Make no mistake about it. I love Mohamed Salah, right? I do. He's been a part of my greatest career as a Liverpool fan. Him, Mane, Virgil. Honestly, all of them are going to be in my life and some part of my consciousness the rest of my life. Even thinking Trent, you know what I mean? Like all of them, right? All of them are part of it. I just think we must include the stalwarts, right? The stalwarts in our team. But there's a like you said, is a win and a time of this everything. I think that as an experienced manager, as an experienced player, sorry, he should know better.
Yeah.
Like for example, do you think that Andy Robertson was my manager this year? That rotation between Andy Robertson and Milos Kirkes? No. Kirkes struggled early on. Slot could have managed that a bit differently and rotated amongst them a bit better to give Kirkes a little bit of time to adapt. He didn't. He was stoked and determined to play Kirkes regardless of performance. And Robertson, you never heard of people call Andy Robertson.
Model professional.
Not a peak,
Model
peak.
professional.
And you can't tell me that Robertson is close to Virgil and Alisson Becker and Mohamed Salah as well. So, maybe I'm sure there was some irritation and maybe how Robertson was being handled at certain points in the season, right?
For sure.
Also especially after being in the vice captain. But you hear big ball Pete. Because that's how his conduct itself. He probably did say something that's wrong. But the boy would never know.
Behind closed doors, yeah. We might find out after the season, but that's
He might
exactly
come out of the season, but exactly. And At least I do believe Mohamed Salah, this club is his heart, and he wants the club to get back to where it was. I challenge again. I mean, I'm not come off of that nonsense too, because I mean, it's one season where they really fell off a cliff. The Spain three
Yeah,
or four
that's
on the
another thing
box.
too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Let me not over embellish it. Like you
yeah,
said,
it's true.
or stop it. Or I think I also again I want Liverpool fans to remember what Klopp said it on his last year as Liverpool manager. Or I saw his new manager, show him the same sort of like welcome and respect that he showed me. I'm
Yeah,
back into each other. I think a lot of Liverpool fans are still in this nostalgia attachment to Jurgen Klopp.
true.
As much as I want to heavy metal football and they gonna have the matches of Europe that teams play like Jurgen Klopp necessarily.
Facts.
So you never get another Jurgen Klopp. So that's a myth. That's a myth in itself. You said enough people feel if you come in without rhetoric. Like you
Yeah,
said, he just determined he got some spitty heat to work on his thought about how his departure, the end of his time at Liverpool came to pass. And I feel it's a bit of mystery,
yeah.
you
I
know.
agree.
But Aaron Slot, to his credit, has so far been broke in the room.
Well, he has
Pretty
made a
much
couple
for
of
it. Pretty
excuses.
much for it. Pretty
You
much
think
for
he
it. He has been
could think
broken in
about
the
the
room.
gym thing?
Well, yeah, he was some questions that but because actually for well, is that like you said, I forgot about that, but those comments as well. We're talking about the culture and I almost suggest now people don't come early, say my workout and da. You know what? But again, does that really have to be said publicly? Oh, but you put a TV thing and you tell people so
It's
before
true.
that.
Too much of it has played out in public, especially with the
Correct.
season going on. It hasn't been ideal.
But you know what I telling me as well. And also waiting more Arsenal needs to have a if Arsenal keeps the job this summer and he starts next season as Liverpool manager, right? He has to be very, very careful because he's on a precipice. Because like you said a lot of Liverpool fans are kind of fed up with the team at him, right? And the performances as well. And a lot of Liverpool fan base seem to would like the team to make a change. We're doing it in terms of like I don't think there's a belief because like I said, performances have never taken an upturn for the season or the course of the season. There's not a strong belief that he can turn it around come next season. Even a fresh start will mean a fresh impetus for the team. It's almost a fear that it'd be more decent. But what Arsenal needs to do, because so like you said, so many players lick that post. He needs to be very careful about who in this squad he can go forward with and who he needs to part ways with.
Yeah, yeah,
Because what Salah has done has undermined the manager's authority. And yeah, it seems as if Salah got a couple in the dressing room that might think along those same lines.
exactly.
Arsenal needs to be really, really careful in terms of not only improving the depth. At some point, we can talk about the mistakes like this manager, but you got to be careful about not only improving the depth of the squad and the quality of the squad, but you also have to change. And he also has to make sure he brings some personnel that is fully buying into his method and his way of doing things.
Yeah,
And back on the team.
yeah, I agree. Um, so the next topic is relegation battle. The last thing to fight for this season. Top 5, 6 pretty much decided. Title already wrapped up. But Tottenham, West Ham, who will go down? Who will go down? Tottenham fell to a 2-1 defeat yesterday evening to Chelsea at the Bridge. In other words, water flat. The sun is hot.
Mhm.
Because standard operating procedures. Happy to get that first win since at home since January. Whew, starving boy. But unfortunately for Spurs, that has taken them into the final day where they play Everton at home. And from what I heard, they've only won 2 games the entire season at home. And West
Mm.
Ham play Leeds at home as well. So, first thing that comes to your mind when I ask this question: who will be relegated on Sunday?
I'm going to stick with my prediction, and I think Tottenham will escape. I think that West Ham will win against Leeds.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Tottenham will get a point at home. And because we go difference, I think Tottenham will stay up.
Okay,
I think their goal difference like 10 goals, and I think
11 or
West Ham
so.
has minus 22 and Tottenham has like minus 11. So that's the biggest swing.
Yeah.
So I think that Tottenham will get a point. I think West Ham might very well beat Leeds. That's a home game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's what will happen. But I think West Ham will ultimately go down one goal difference. That is me. What do you think?
Um. Oh gosh, I think you're right. I think Spurs will survive. I've watched Spurs since the Zerbi has come in, and they do look a different team. They're the quality is still not there, which you would expect with a lot of injuries and stuff, but they're fighting. They're fighting a lot more than I have seen. I remember after that Northern Derby, I had messages and I was like, but the bare minimum is fight, and they gave none of it. So the Derby has definitely brought that to them, and I think ultimately having seen that, I think that is what convinces me that Spurs will survive. Unfortunately, what I have to say about that is shame on Aston Villa. I was thinking about this yesterday.
Tell
How
me,
Aston Villa
listen.
allow Spurs to rock up on their ground and beat them comfortably. I thought that was a comfortable win for Spurs, but yet decided to blame you on Friday for no reason. Come on, what's it like?
It was their last one in the season, and like I said,
I
the
don't
first one game, and the last one game is always a difficult game for
don't
the
care.
opponent.
This is a prime opportunity to relegate a basic side, and you decide to just open sesame. Because if Spurs had lost that game, for me it was over. Because obviously they would have had 3 points less, and I think it would have been over. But hey, so I think Spurs survive. I really do. I think Spurs survive. But Everton is still Shida, but I think they survive. It's the last home game as well. They're not gonna want to let on. They've let on their fans a lot this season. 2 out of 18 games that want to win at home in front of the fans. Nah, boy. So I think they'll survive. Unfortunately.
Um, Before you go, just a quick question, because we don't have to do anything. I'm not trying to do anything today, but just a quick question. Who won the leaderboard
First of all,
after this? Okay.
there's still a game week left. So are we declaring the winner tonight, or are we doing one last round of predictions?
I think to declare a winner. You think did you call back substantial points?
4. So I now 9 points behind. But we could declare a winner.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I'll give you the option. If I had a choice, I would have run it right down. But I don't mind. I don't mind conceding.
You see me doing this. I won't predict the rubbish. You got one game that matter, which
Yeah,
is
exactly. That's the only
relegation.
reason. That's the only reason. So yes, you have won the leaderboard. 3 out of 4 seasons. Congratulations.
You're welcome. Right, so that's all I want to know. Hopefully we'll see each other again for the Champions League final, where I will give you your gift. That's a full birthday plus leaderboard victory celebration gift. I have it here just that.
But I still ain't sure if I won't watch that. I am very scared that Arsenal might win. I can't live with that.
Listen, can't watch again because even if Arsenal win, that's the time where you need loved ones to pop you up and support you. You need to surrounded by loved ones instead of a great tragedy, right? If that was the past.
You're not wrong. You're right. Well, it's been another good show. We'll be back in 2 weeks reviewing the season, and then looking ahead to the World Cup, which is really right around the corner. We still have a few things to flesh out, but we're definitely going to be doing some different things during the World Cup coverage. So just stay tuned. As I said, we're going to be branching into writing as well. So stay tuned for that as well. Follow our podcast, of course, at Dugout_podcast. You can follow me, Rissa Simone 91, June 9106. And of course, our sponsors, Whole Health Pharmacy 246 and Spirit Led Studios 246, all on Instagram. Anything you want to add?
No, again, to our viewers and our subscribers, thank you for your support. We really want this channel to grow. So if you like this video and like this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. And encourage your friends to subscribe too.
Agreed. All right. So thank you for joining us and join us again next time.